Shalom, and welcome once again to Elders of GMS, giving all praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. Today's topic is entitled Hebrew, Greek, and Biblical Root Words. Hebrew, Greek, and Biblical Root Words. And pretty much the title pretty much says it all. And we wanted to do this show for a while. And we're finally going to do it through the spirit of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. We want to basically go right into it. I like to read it to get me Genesis, the 4th chapter, and we're going to start from the first verse. And like I said, we're going to get into these words. We're going to go into a lot of scriptures that you already went into or know or understand, but we're going to go a lot deeper because we're going to pull out these Hebrew and Greek words. All right, go ahead.
This is the book of Genesis chapter 4 verse 1. And Adam knew Eve his wife, and she conceived and bare Cain, and said, I have gotten a man from the Lord. And she again bare his brother Abel, and Abel was a keeper of the sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. And in process of time it came to pass that Cain brought of the fruit of the ground an offering unto the Lord, and Abel he also brought of the firstlings of his flock and of the fat thereof, and the Lord had respect unto Abel and to his offering. But unto Cain and to his offering he had not respect, and Cain was very wroth, and his countenance fell.
Yeah, I'm going to have the brothers speak a little bit.
Right, so basically what we're reading here is the story of of the conception of Cain and Abel. Now, this basically was the beginning. The Cain and Abel story was basically the beginning of the going back to Genesis the 3rd chapter, the beginning of that enmity that the Most High put between the serpent seed and between the seed of the man. When it says the seed of the woman, it represented the seed of the man. So these two children, Abel and Cain, they basically started that whole line or that whole prophecy of the Genesis, the 3rd chapter and the 16th verse. So that enmity between the seed serpent and the woman's seed was basically dealing with Jacob and Esau, but back then they were called Cain and Abel. Okay. This is back in Genesis chapter 4 verse 1. It says, and Adam knew Eve his wife, and she conceived and bare Cain, and said, I have gotten a man from the Lord. Now, when you look up that word Cain, it comes from the Hebrew word Qayan. Now, as Elder Tar was, when we were speaking earlier before we started the lesson, Elder Tar was saying when you go through the Blue Letter Bible, they don't give you the actual meaning of the name Cain. So you have to dig through different resources to find it. Like you got to have the Hebrew booklet, the Ben Yehudi. You got to have the actual, if you can afford the actual book of the Strong's Concordance, you have that, because there's sometimes when you go through the Blue Letter Bible, they don't always give you the proper breakdown of these particular words. And it's important that when you research, you have to look at other resources in order to compare and find out which one is telling the truth. All right. So the name Cain comes from the Hebrew word Qayan. All right. Now, in the Blue Letter Bible, when you look up the word, it gives you the definition as being possession. That's not the definition. All right. The name Cain basically means like a stabbing weapon, like a spear or a dagger or some form like a javelin type, so something that you thrust, a weapon that you thrust with. And as a matter of fact, I have here, see, because when you look it up in the Blue Letter, like I said, it uses the word possession. But when you look it up in here and you look up under the Hebrew, Qayan, the word Qayan means spear, dagger, or blade. See, that's the actual meaning of the word. And the reason why it was, if his name was called Cain, was because of what he was going to do. He was going to slay his brother. And Elder Gabar always brings this out, a term called nomen omen. Now, the term nomen omen is a Latin term for name prediction, meaning that whatever your name was called in the future, your name was going to have some significance to it. Like, I'll give you an example. This guy, Alexander the Creep, we call him. Now, the word Alexander means protector. And the protector, why? Because he became the king, ultimate king that united all of those Greeks together, those Edomites together, to take down the Medo-Persian Empire, to rule. That's the man that the Most High used. So his name meant protector. Why? Because it was a future prophecy. The same thing with many other historic figures in back in the history. They were named certain things because of what they were going to do later on. Another example is Septimius Severus. Now, Septimius Severus, the word Septimius means 7, and Severius means to sever or to cut. Why? Because he cut the head of the Roman Empire, which was the part of the 7 heads. He helped cut that head. So when his name was given to him, that his parents didn't know why they were naming him that, but it was given to him that way because of a future prophecy or future thing that was going to happen, where he was the actual man that did it based upon his name. All right. So now when you go back and you read, and Adam knew Eve, his wife, and she conceived and bare Cain, and said, I have gotten a man from the Lord. The word Cain from the Hebrew Qayan, which means like a spear or a thrusting weapon. It says, and she again bare his brother Abel, and Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. Now the name Abel comes from the Hebrew word habal. And now when you look it up online, I forgot what the actual word, what it said for, I think it said breath. Yeah, breath.
Matter of fact, I'm going to let him read it. Read it.
Genesis 4 and 2.
Genesis 4 and 2.
It says, and she again bare his brother Abel. And Abel was a keeper of the sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground.
Read it one more time.
Okay. It says, and she again bare his brother Abel. And Abel was a keeper of the sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground.
Read.
Yeah, Genesis 2 and 4. 4 and 2. Salakia. Habal is the Hebrew word, and the word there is breath. It says, second son of Adam and Eve, killed by his brother Cain. Down here it says breath, breathing, used of a gentle breeze. Click here. Breath of the mouth. That's pretty much it.
Okay. Right. So that's not what the word meant. Although you could use that because of the term breath. You can be breathing right now, and then your breath can be gone from you, and then you take your, like they say, you take your last breath and you die. But the name Abel from the Hebrew habal means transitory, and the reason why he was called transitory was because when he was born, not too long after he was born, when he became a man, his brother Cain, which is Qayan, a thrusting weapon, slew him and killed him. So what happened? He became transitory. Just like you have in the matter of fact, I'll read it back here in the blue letter. In the this Bible that we have from the Jehovah's Witness. It says index of proper names, expressions, and their meanings. Now, when you look up the name Abel, it means a breath. Then it says transitory. It also says metal, but it says transitoriness. Why? Oh, hold on for 1 second. Okay, it means transitoriness. Why? Because to be transitory means you're here for 1 second, or you're here for a certain period of time, and then you move on to the next, to your next stop, just like a bus. When they're in transit, the bus will make a stop at a bus stop, then it'll go to the next, and then it'll go to the next. So it's transitory. It's there for a moment, and then it's gone.
Yeah, back in the Blue Letter Bible, as you scroll down, you'll see it. It says Abel, the second son of Adam, probably so-called from the shortness of his life. But he had this name from birth. So even here they're telling you that his name is akin to what it meant. It says shortness of his life. And then it says, but he had this name from his birth.
Yeah, where's that? James 4, verse 13.
James chapter 4, verse 13. Go to now, ye that say today or tomorrow we will, we will go into such a city and continue there a year and buy and sell and get gain. Whereas you know not what